ESL English 2, and I am going to discuss to you on what is grammar and what is grammar. But first, let us have grammar. Grammar is the rules of language governing the sounds, words, sentences, and other elements, as well as their combination and interpretation. The word grammar also denotes the study of these abstract features or a book presenting those rules. So according to PlainEnglish.com, grammar is a system and structure of language. Type rules of grammar helps us to decide the order we put words in and which form of a word to use. And according also to a British linguist, academic, and author David Percival, he tells us that grammar is the study of all the contrasts of meaning that is possible to make within sentences. The rules of grammar tells us how, and by one count, there are some 3,500 such rules in English. Grammar is actually something all of us begin to learn in our first days and weeks of life, through interaction with others. So from the moment we are born, language and the grammar that makes up that language is all around us. We start learning it as soon as we hear it spoken around us, even if we don't fully comprehend its meaning yet. So there are also types of grammar which teachers follow a course of pedagogical grammar when instructing English language learners. So while students mainly have to deal with the nuts and bolts of prescriptive traditional grammar, such as making sure verbs and subjects agree and where to put commas in a sentence. So linguists focus on the infinitely more complex aspects of language. So they study how people acquire language and debate whether every child is born with the concept of universal grammar, examining if everything from how different languages compare to each other or inherited language grammar. So to the variety of permutations within a single language is also called descriptive grammar. So to the way in which words and usage interrelate to create meaning is also called a lexical grammar. So let's continue. What is grammaring? So according to Larson Freeman, he says that grammaring can be seen in a fifth skill. Her definition of is as follows: the ability to use grammar structures accurately, meaningfully, and appropriately. So grammaring emphasizes grammar is a dynamic process rather than a system rules. So grammaring is sometimes used to refer to the process by which language learners use grammar to create messages through grammaticalizing or adding grammar to a sequence of words to create finer meaning distinctions. So the linguist Diane Larson Freeman proposed grammaring as an important process in second language acquisition. Grammaring also emphasizes grammar as a dynamic process rather than a system of rules. Alright, so there are also categories under grammaring, and these are the first one, we have the focus and form. So it is a distinction is often made between a language use and language form. In other words, there has been a continuous debate over whether to teach students the language or teach them about the language. So for Larson Freeman, both language form and language use are equally important. So the next one we have focus on meaning. So linking form with meaning can be carried out by the use of different activities. In fact, meaning should call for some sort of associative learning. So this activity gives students the opportunity to associate the form with the meaning of a particular target structure. So the last one we have the focus and use. So the right form with the right meaning should be selected for the right context to ensure successful communication. A practical way of going about sensitizing students to the effect of context on language is through making use of role playing. So, in summary, the field of language teaching and learning has always been controversial due to the blurriness of boundaries among its different components. One example in which controversies arise is the intersection of grammaring with language skills under the umbrella of the so called communicative approach to language teaching and learning. So, within the latter, grammar is a skill is taught through form, meaning, and use. So by following these three main activities, namely the rods, the realia, and role plays. So I think that's all, and thank you for listening.